again, by the time she gets home, in my opinion, she is in the midst of a full-blown psychotic episode.
I do not agree with that assessment.
Why not?
Because there's no evidence to support that claim other than she said so. When we're trying to determine somebody's knowledge of wrongfulness, there's some classic things that we're paying attention to. So lying, concealing, avoiding detection, fleeing, and trying to implicate another perpetrator. Those would be some clear signs that somebody understands what they're doing is wrong.
Was Sydney malingering when you tested her on these dates that you talked about in 2021?
Absolutely not.
Sidney Powell killed her mother, stabbed her. The question for the jury is, was she legally insane at the time? Not mentally ill, but legally insane. She didn't understand the wrongfulness of what she was doing when she was stabbing her mother to death. It was an extremely emotional case, but may come down to that battle of the experts and who the jury believes in all this based upon all the circumstances surrounding the killing of Sidney Powell's mother. So closing arguments today, let's take a look.
You're going to be asked to decide what I refer to as the core of this case when we started. And that core is whether or not Miss Powell, at the time of the offense, was suffering from a serious mental disease, and she wasn't able to know the wrongfulness of her actions. Now, Attorney Don Milarczyk, in his opening statements that day, he came up here and he said that this case comes down to one question. It comes down to why. And I'm here to tell you that is not the question. The question is not why. You're going to get the law from the court, and I can tell you, you're not going to see the word why in there. Why did this happen? Because that's not the law. The state has no burden to provide motive, and insanity does not exist simply because there's no why. It might be hard to understand or hard to comprehend why, but that doesn't equal insanity. You're still left with the core question whether or not Miss Powell was suffering from the mental disease, which was severe, and whether or not she knew the wrongfulness of her actions. That's it. And ladies and gentlemen, when you look at all the evidence that's in front of you, step by step, the state believes that you're going to have your answer to those questions.
What's the motive? The motive is apparently all we heard was Sydney was so upset that she got suspended from school that she killed her mother. Does that make sense to you? Is that your reason and your common sense that that is absolutely true? Because if that's it, then Sydney's fooled everybody. She's fooled all the doctors. She fooled those doctors who were there that day, who saw her. She fooled the doctors during 9 days of inpatient, involuntary hospitalization who diagnosed her with schizophrenia. She fooled all three of our experts. But more importantly, she fooled Ken Dees, a police officer who knows that family for 40 plus years and told you there is no evidence at all of any dysfunction. There's no violence. That's not who they are.
Not every brutal crime that doesn't seem to make sense right away is insanity. That's why I ask in jury selection, so every time a shooter goes into an elementary school and shoots up a classroom full of kids, as god-awful as that is, they must always be insane? Of course not. I think we heard some testimony on that. I think even Dr. Reardon said that wasn't the case. But you have to ask yourselves, if Sydney was on the verge of this psychotic break, not in control of her actions, completely unaware of what she was doing, she had 45 minutes with Brenda. Why not kill her in those first 45 minutes? She only attacks her when she's on the phone with Mount Union, right when her secrets are about to be discovered.
And the jury has the case. Take a look at what they have to decide here. And they have 3 choices for each count here. Murder, purposeful murder, not guilty by reason of insanity, or guilty. Count 2, felony murder, not guilty by reason of insanity, or guilty. And the same for felonious assault and tampering with evidence. But those top 2 counts, purposeful murder, felony murder, those are the 2 big ones. Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. Okay, Al, what is justice in this case?
I mean, it's a tough call, Vin, because if I say to the average person that I know a 19-year-old that smashed her mother in the head with a frying pan and then stabbed her in the head and the neck 30 times with a knife, all over bad grades, I think the first response from that person that I'm speaking to is going to be, that's crazy. And I mean, that's what it is. It is crazy. This whole case makes no sense to me. I thought that the defense counsel did a nice job with regards to his closing arguments, except that, he did do something that is basically wrong. The state doesn't have to prove a motive. Okay, everyone likes to see a motive, and I know the prosecution always enjoys a good motive because it makes life a little easier with regards to a jury, but they don't have to prove motive. I mean, this girl went crazy based on bad grades. That's crazy to me, Ben. And I don't know what the best situation is. A mother's killed brutally by a daughter that had no other problems prior to this. It's just something that is just a true tragedy, and no matter what happens, no one's winning this case.
Okay, Jennifer Brandt, Al wouldn't answer it. How about you? What's justice in this case?
Justice is, it is a tough one. It's hard for me to answer this, but you do have a mother that lost her life by her own daughter, which is just so sad to begin with. But I don't know. Al is talking about the defendant being crazy, but was she crazy at the time she, brutally killed her mother, hit her with a frying pan, stabbed her in the neck? I'm not so sure. I mean, it sounds like leading up to this, she was thrown out of school. She was trying to cover it up. The mom was on to her, and all of a sudden the mom ends up dead. So I think justice here is trying to find out why this happened and getting some justice for that poor woman who lost her life.
Not sure if that's an answer either.
Well,
Darnell?
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, closer than Al. Darnell, what's justice here?
Absolutely.
This is a difficult case. I understand it's a difficult case, but there's really 3 choices. I thought I read them. Not guilty by reason of insanity, or guilty.
Yeah, I think justice in this case, I'm going to be direct. Watch this. Here it comes. Giving you an answer to your question. So justice here is not guilty by reason of mental insanity. That's justice. No one is going to look at this case. When you look at all the technical stuff here, malingering, whether she understood that her actions were wrong, whether she was suffering from a mental defect. When you look at the facts here, by killing her mother due to some school stuff is not going to cure anything. She's not going to have her mother the next day.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Darnell, because a lot of times this is what happens when mothers kill their children, right? We always have an excuse. They're crazy. There's something wrong with them. What if she killed someone from the school? What if she killed someone from the school, the counselor or whoever?
That's a motive.
What?
Right.
That's
so
a
she
motive.
kills
Then
some.
she's not insane. Then she's not insane, right? She's just a bad person,
Exactly.
a criminal.
No,
That makes
I
sense
think the fact
to me.
if the facts would just be different. If she, like the prosecutor said, if just because you walk into school and shoot somebody up doesn't mean, as crazy as it is, doesn't mean you're suffering from mental defect.
Everything
But in
else
this
is the
particular
same, but instead of killing her mother, she kills, let's say, the counselor over at the office, the administrative office.
It couldn't be the same. As they said, she was breaking down. She had a psychotic episode, and if she had a psychotic episode and is supported by clinical studies,
Okay.
and then
As
defense
long
would
as
be
you're
the same.
consistent there, because I don't want people to get a break just because you murder or kill a family member. I mean,
Right.
No,
I don't.
it's consistent.
That should not be like, oh well, it's only their own family, so it doesn't really matter. No,
Right,
okay,
free pass.
I got you.
No,
You're
no free
consistent,
passes.
but
Yeah.
you're consistent. I like that, Darnell. Al.
Thank you.
So,
Yes.
regardless of what you think is justice, what do you think is going to happen here?
Not guilty by reason of insanity.
Jennifer
I agree.
and Darnell, do you think the jury will listen to you in this case? I know they listen to you in your cases, right?
Oh.
But will this jury listen to you in this case?
First of all, Al, I got 6 juries picked. I got 2 more tomorrow. I'm always on trial.
No.
I've already
Mr.
called them.
Soprano,
I've already
Vinny,
tampered with your jury, for God's sakes.
Vinny, I
Believe me.
do this. I'm on trial now. I have 2 to pick. I'm here because I'm an expert.
They're gonna
and
find
so
you
yes,
guilty.
they'll listen to me.
Okay.
It's going to be 9 in a row. I'll report back later.